Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. Happy hump day to all of you guys out there. It is day 4 or 5 out here. Hawaiian Dave coming to you from Oahu today. We've jumped islands back to Oahu. And I've got some more content for you guys. My hair is a little rough. It's been a long day here. Late night, Tuesday night for me. I know Wednesday morning for you guys, big time difference. And we've got Brian and Mike from their podcast talking it out. Brian says, I expect the women to take my last name, but let's listen to what he actually has to say and see what he has to say, because we know on Reddit everyone's going, oh my gosh, these guys are the worst. Well, let's just, we'll hear it out. Also, if you want to hear me out, May 12th, I've got a show. It will sell out in Burbank, Los Angeles, small, intimate crowd. I'll be doing some good time over there, Dave Neal and Friends, so come check out that stand-up show. And all the details for that will be on my Instagram, @DNeals. All right, let's have a listen. Let's see what the boys are saying regarding taking the women taking the man's last name in a marriage.
All right, so if your girlfriend, soon-to-be fiance and wife, says, hey, I'm not going to take your last name, what are your thoughts?
Oof.
Hot take. Hot take.
I guess my first question is why? Like, what would be the reason?
That's such an easy response. The answer is,
it's
okay, here it is right here. You ready? You ready? Why even ask
to.
that dumbass question like, this is the world I live in? Why do I have to take your last name? Who made up these rules? If I'm your woman, I'm like, yo, if I decide to ask you that question, my response is going to be such a simple, why you asking? Why is this an issue? You can't. I'm a why you back.
Because I was raised a certain way. I have certain beliefs. I have certain
there we go.
expectations that yes, I expect as the man. Call me old fashioned, whatever the case may be. I expect the woman to take my last name.
Whenever anyone says, call me old-fashioned, it's something problematic is about to be said. Hey, call me old-fashioned, but I believe, whoa, don't tell us. Now, look, I don't necessarily disagree with Brian here, but the deal is you do it because society does it. And people go, wow, that's the patriarchy talking. And you go, well, maybe that's the case, but that's just the norm, and most people go with the norm. Now, in my case, I don't think Tasha's taking... Tasha, are you taking my last name? Tasha's not taking my last name. Tasha doesn't do anything anyone tells her to do, and she sure as hell isn't taking my last name. That's right. Oh, Tasha, I can actually see you in the background. Are you wearing anything here? Let's see here. Let's move Tasha out of the way there. Did anyone know that they could see Tasha in the background? For those that are wondering, Dave, do you actually film this in your hotel room on vacation? Yes. We just had a good dinner, and Tasha's got the nice little post-dinner lounging in the bed. Anyway, and I'm here with you guys. So point being, I can understand the side of people saying, hey, you take the last name because it's just what people do, But that's also not a really good reason to take it, is it?
Okay, so what about this? Hyphenated.
Hyphenated.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, you're okay with hyphenated.
I'm okay with that. I mean, look at my...
I don't love hyphenating the names because it's like, what then, there's how many, names in the end are just ways to identify somebody. Like Tasha and myself were both in Screen Actors Guild. Your name is what your name is. You don't change it because you've got your domain and your stupid IMDb and all your power recapping channel. You don't change it for those reasons. And then what do the kids be called? All these stupid questions you got to figure out.
My wife.
Yes.
Rachel is known as Rachel Lindsay, right?
Yes.
Her claim to fame, like that was her right?
Correct.
Rachel Lindsay. That's her.
Correct.
That's her name. So
Correct.
I don't mind Rachel Lindsay Abasola, which is that's what it is. Like I don't mind it, right?
Okay.
But like to completely eliminate Abasolo from all existence, I don't know about that. I wouldn't be cool with that.
So I understand. The man doesn't want to give up his last name because then there goes that lineage or whatever. And then the women can also say, hey, I want to give up my last name. Like, they both make sense. So, do we live in a world where the kid just gets a new name? Like, how does that work?
That would be a little conflict right there.
So, I mean, how deep would it go? Because this is not a question I feel like I'm the single guy, right? This isn't one of my top 25 questions that I would ask if I had a top 25 question. This would just be like,
so this isn't a fantasy suite question you would ask.
No, this is like the least of my worries, right? But it would be a question. It would definitely come up at some point if I intend to get married?
Yeah, I personally would have an issue with it. That's just me, but I know a lot of people that would agree with me, especially coming from like Latin culture. I don't know, it's just a thing.
Especially coming from Colombia.
Colombia, there you go. Mike representing today.
Now, a lot of people talk about Latin culture as being, I don't know if the word misogynistic is too strong, but people do talk about some of the traditions, as he says, called me old-fashioned. Is it that big of a deal? I don't know. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. For me personally, it's kind of one of those, like, I don't think my lady will love me any less if she doesn't want to take my last name. That I can separate those. I don't have the pride or ego about that.
I mean, is baby willing to end it all just because of that? I mean, I guess that's where I'm going.
Wait.
That's like, wait.
Then she's going to ask, are you willing to end it all because of that?
Well, if you like, why don't you want to do it though? Like,
give me
a valid reason.
I'm loving Mike Johnson on this. I'm loving him pressing the issue.
Like, I want
to
pass along my name to my wife. Like, I want that to be the family name or whatever, or at least part of it,
crest.
Right?
Yes.
The family crest. There you go, the proper term. So that's very important to me when it comes to my values, my morals, and whatnot. And for you not to take it, that would really essentially insult me.
It's so important to his values that he can't even articulate why she should take his last name in the first place. But I understand society. It's like you don't want to have to. You want to have to deal with it. Why do you have the same last name? I get it. You just want to file rank. I understand that. But to say that it would be like super insulting, I think that's a very selfish way to look at it, right?
I ain't gonna lie.
No, this is good. This is what the hot takes are for. So for me, I feel like it's harder for you because you are Latino and you're in that community, and it's even stronger. I don't know the proper terminology, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Me as an African American, grew up in Texas. It's like custom that the man, keeps the last name and the woman takes his last name. But we're also living in a time to where we're shaking things up, right? In a good way, good way, mind you. And so if my wife or my fiance asked me that, I would be under the assumption that, babe, we get married when you're Johnson now, right? But if she asked me that question, it would make me like, oh, shit, my bad. I'm just assuming over here. I didn't even think about that,
Yeah.
I would perfectly be fine with the hyphenated name.
Time out. What if, let me flip this on you.
Okay.
What if she wanted you to take her last name? Which
that ain't happening.
That has
it has.
I've seen that
cool.
come up.
That's cool. Because I'm gonna go back to baby, we can do the hyphenated joint. I'm not gonna take your last name. Like, next question.
It's either my name or hyphenated. That's
like,
it.
We can do
the
the 50-50. We can 100% go 50-50. We can go half on the baby with the half name.
Gotcha.
But we will not. Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson comes off so easy. My homeboy named Ramirez. Mike Ramirez? No. Like, what if my girl?
You are inducted as a Colombian now.
All right, so that's just mind-shattering, fascinating stuff here. So read some of the comments from you guys. People who were, obviously the comments on Reddit are always going to lend themselves to be the most fanatical side ever. You know what we need more of? Podcasts where men give opinions on women's decisions. Love that. Now, and look, with all due respect, these are guys talking about a decision that the man and the woman make in a relationship, or in the same sex, whatever marriage we're talking about. It doesn't have to be about gender here. Who's taking whose last name? That's it's not about making decisions for somebody else so much as like having simple conversations before you get married about what you're going to do. This kind of stuff is why Brian didn't make it far in the ideal partner poll for anyone who has been confused. I'm always hurt when I hear men have the hot take that it's ridiculous for a woman to fathom not taking their last name, and worse for women to ask them if they would consider taking the woman's last name. For all the reasons it seems ridiculous to Brian and Mike, their family name, they have always been known by their name, that's their identity, are all the same reasons it is hard for women to change their names. The fact that they can't acknowledge that's the situation they put women in when they scoff at that suggestion is so hurtful and really emphasizes how misogynistic that practice is. I do agree that, like, by not understanding the women's side of things, that it is selfish to be like, oh, what about, I'm going to be so offended. It's like, why? What are we talking about here? We're talking about, like, logistical, with the way, what your passport looks like. The history and meaning of women taking their husband's last name. The practice of assuming your husband's name was birthed in a deeply patriarchal society, and centuries later, the tradition still stands. Believe it or not, the practice of a woman taking her husband's last name is a vestige of a law that dates back to the 11th century. Sometime after the Norman conquest, the Normans introduced the idea of coverture to the English, and the seeds of a long-standing tradition were planted. Under English common law, coverture asserted that once married, a woman's identity was covered by her husband. Okay, so it's kind of like, it's kind of like an insurance thing, right? All right, she's with me. She's with the Neal. Okay, I'm sure Tasha would take my last name if it meant she got free health insurance. Would you, Tasha? Tasha's like, I'll take your last name if I can get a 10% off at the car rental place. But either way, taking your husband's last name, FAQ. Why do most women still take their husband's last name? For some, taking the husband's last name simply serves to solidify the commitment. It's a gesture that leaves no room for doubt. Changing their surname after marriage shows they're all in. For others, taking their husband's surname is more about the status of the family unit, when there is a family unit to speak of. Who knows? Is it common for men to take their wives' surnames? Of course. Well, no, it's not common. Research shows that 3% of men have chosen this option. Additionally, the decision has been known to elicit intrusive questions and comments from friends, family, and strangers alike. So that's what people have to understand. You have to empathize with society judging people that go in that direction. Again, it's just one of those things you have to look at. Can I change my name to be, okay, do I have to pay? Okay, so anyway, other questions we don't need to get into. So let me know what you guys think. It's an interesting conversation, and I wouldn't boil it down so easy as saying, oh, men shouldn't be making these decisions for women. I think it's a conversation worth having with every relationship uniquely. Hey, what are we going to do when we sign this contract to be united in a marriage? How are we going to do that? Do we care about last names? Do we create a new last name? Do I take yours? Do you take mine? And if someone has a real hang up where they're not willing to go through marriage with you because of something that's kind of semantics based, then I would kind of put that red flag right out there and question how much they actually like you. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. More content coming your way. If you haven't already, check out the Dave Neal Show. I got live updates on the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. We're getting tons of views over there. Lots to talk about. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye, everybody.